No, no.
Oh, okay.
Regular monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners of South Lafourche, Levee District will now come to order. Roland, would you call us to the meeting to the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, will you please call the roll?
Ron Holly,
Here.
Clarence Marks, Mitch Denos.
Here.
Roland Curall.
Here.
Roland Guidry.
Here.
Bob Falk.
Here.
McNeely Roan.
Here.
Keith Guidry.
Here.
Monty Davis.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Okay, you've been provided with the minutes of the last meeting. Any corrections, deletions, or additions of the minutes as presented? Moved by Bob, seconded by Roland. Any objection? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, open meeting seminar. Everything's up to date on that?
In March.
That's March 4th at 6 o'clock at the Lafourche Parish Government Complex in Matthews for anyone who's interested in going.
It's not
Not required.
It's not required, no.
I've been to about a dozen of them. I think I know what it is. Okay. I have nothing to report except that Keith had just asked me, the workshop's going to be, I think, the first week in May. So we're going to go around and check with them.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any information yet from
Yeah,
them.
they had the agenda at the ALBO meeting Friday.
Yeah, we'll probably get it in a day or two.
So anyway, anybody in the audience for the purpose of addressing the board? Daniel?
I'm
You
okay.
missed your chance last week, that meeting, so you haven't tried this meeting.
Well, I got confused, and I didn't want y'all to think that I came here just because of the election. So I'm here, and I have nothing to say, but I know it's gonna get better, and the fuel shouldn't be a problem.
You know, I've been trying to listen, to watch the meeting on Vision, but every time it says the Lafourche Parish Council meeting, there's some advertising show with them, trying to sell a product.
Oh, no, that's how good we are?
Yeah, they did point out that.
No, I know that's how we get the video.
Trying to get us to
cancel.
Ronald's always picking on me.
The rating for the commercial was better. Okay, I'm kidding.
Ronald's always.
We are too.
I'm literally
Okay,
lost. I was like,
General manager report, Wendell.
All right, we'll get you about what's going on.
Right, this is a little floodgate. And here's the location of the system, that opened it out, and right. And these are provided by Joe.
Yes.
Joel. And you can see the contract has been progressing. He's got lots of sheet pile stuck over here, and they're working on this side. And then the other thing is that, you know, we have 13 feet over here, we have 13 feet here. The gates themselves, we raised to 13 last time we had them worked on. And now we're making that connection through here, so we're gonna be 13 all the way through here. And then when this little levee at 13 intersects the wall that the Corps prepared, but they only brought it up to 10 and a half feet. So it's 10 and a half here. Then under the bridge, they stopped raising it, it was 8 feet, and we came in the 13-foot piles. We have 13 from the elevated bridge all the way to Delta Farms Road, and then again, the Corps took over, and they only built that up to about a 10. Delta Farms and the gate, and then it meets up with our section F levee, and that's 13 feet. So we have a couple of gaps left to do, and we're looking at having the money this year to try and get those areas raised over here. But this area will be solid all the way through to 13. The only thing that's kind of good about this being lower, only at 10 feet, is if it is overtopped, we have a road that parallels the inside like a splash pad, where we're not going to expect any erosion when that water comes down. So It's gonna go over while it's that high, but once it goes down, there won't be a hole in the system. So it won't be as bad as it could be, but again, our goal is to get that up to 13 also. And again, that's looking north at the north part of Lafourche, because in the coastal route. And you can see this is the old elevation at 8 feet going through here. And then this is 13 and filling in inside here. And then, Joe, we're gonna have some sheet pile coming along here, right?
Yes, they just made the corner, gonna start driving sheets going northward along the levee up to the pipeline.
Okay. And on the ground level, you can see they've driven in. And here's the parapet we put in a few months ago. Here's the other side, and then the process of snapping the sheets. And again, as Joe mentioned, they're gonna be coming up here with the sheets. And some of the old sheet pile from our other jobs, we're putting along the toe of the dirt levee here. You know, we weren't sure we could get the elevation 13 in such a small space, but it's worked out pretty well. But with the sheet pile here, we'll protect the base of it, so it's gonna work out pretty well. We continue to work toward getting a lock. Okay, here's the present gate. Here's the new work we're doing, 13. And Joe, we're looking at 6 or 7 feet here with the.
Last time we had talked about 7 feet.
Yeah, and that's again, this is not flood protection. This has nothing to do with flood protection. This has to do with locking boats in and out. It also means stopping the body from getting too high in Golden Meadow. That's the big advantage. And it means not impeding navigation so much. You know, right now, we have problems in town. We want to get so high over here, we have to really have to decide whether we're going to open at all. But this is not a safety issue, it's basically a navigation issue. And that's critical for us because we need our economy to pick up and do better, and we want to make sure there's efficient and cost-effective movement through it. So there's a gate over here we do it. We, the parish, we work with the parish for some of the Go Mesa share that they get from the state. And I called in, I was surprised to find out that they've sold the bond, that we do have $5 million for that lock right now. So we need to find maybe another $7 million, hopefully the state. And again, with a $12 million request in capital outlay, that money with the $5 million, we can build almost all the big parts of our project that we have left to build. So we have a chance.
That's almost about where the old bridge was? Yeah. Like it's almost right.
Yeah, it's exactly right. That's a good point. Here's the old bridge right here.
A little bit south.
And they're coming over here. Now the trick with this, no bypass channel. So I would imagine we're gonna put it up, you know, have a floating barge, have the sheet pile as the bed of it already placed, put it in there, maybe stop traffic maybe 4 days at a time until we can completely finish it. Any comments, Joe, on what y'all been thinking?
That's the plan. I'm gonna put the base in and have everything ready to receive a barge. Right now, our concept is to have a steel barge that we would be able to float in place, pan it in place, and then in the future, if you did maintenance, you could float it back up again and float it out and bring it to a dry dock. Like a 10, 15-year interval is what we normally do in the gates, and that would be the concept to do.
Did we put shell base in Golden Meadows?
In Golden Meadow, you have a concrete, it's
But
it's
is
a
it resting on a shell, better shell?
It is resting on limestone riprap, yeah.
But Joe, we spent a lot of time stabilizing the structure down in Golden Meadow. With this, we can use just the weight of the water and a few piles to hold it down, because that's what really made us block and need a bypass channel, was the stabilizing of the
You're
board.
gonna have to have some piles to support this structure in the middle of the bayou. So there will be some piles, but hopefully we can stage the construction to where we're only closing the bayou at certain intervals. That's the plan.
Yeah, well, again, that's to be the critical thing, if we can get that done and not close the body more than 4 days at a time, so that,
And the Golden Meadow one was built with cement and then filled with cement, right?
That's right,
It's designed not to be able to move.
that's right.
Not to be moved.
and we're hoping to get all this. Now, here's our map of the site show, this is on the west side of the levee, we're looking at the bullet camp area, it's pump station number 2. And, again, we placed a lot of material on this side of the levee from the other side. and now we need to put it on top of the levee. We're looking, trying to get to 18 over here. We haven't, our people have been, getting this dirt lined up, because the contractor just threw it up there. Now, our guys are flattening out the drain real good, and we're actually building some of the levee just to see how well it works. And that's just a test. We're also putting some dirt on the outside. The outside toe has subsided so much that some high tides now go over the toe of the levee here. That's not helping. So we're gonna be raising the top of the levee, not do too much with this outside berm and the levee elevation of the crown, but come in and maybe add a foot, or if we need to add 2 feet, whatever it takes to keep this out of the water on normal high tides. Yeah, so that's the plan. Again, we're working this area. We've got probably 20 feet where the discharge pipes are, and we're working toward getting 18 over here. And then we're gonna look at advertising the rest of the job, getting a contractor to build the rest. We're looking back at, there's a discharge pipe, and that's the outside dirt we're placing to get it high enough so that no tides don't get over it. And there we're looking south and then slowly raising this up to 18. And then looking down the flashes down, looking up toward the roads, raising it. And again, the rest of this, we're looking at getting a contractor to get it to that level. But we wanted to do that piece just so a contractor can see exactly what the risks are and how hard or easy it is. But we think we've put it in a position that we're gonna get a pretty good bid. Again, that's the new dirt we placed on it. And then that's all that, we've contoured this to drain away, so now this is a good dry area with some mats. We could put maybe a large drag line to come on here, and with mats, and just be able to get real close to the levee. Or if a contractor thinks he can do it better by putting it in trucks and bringing it here, we're gonna keep it open in the advertisement to whatever gives us the best bid. And this is courtesy of Stephen Smith, AKA airplane pilot.
Hey, what did you say?
I think I said a nasty word.
That was just before the crash.
You an autopilot?
Or was it the 1929 crash? Now here's our levee looking south. This is the Apache Farm. Here's the 4-lane highway on Borough Canal. This is the material we took this side, put on this side to raise the levee to the 18 feet. This is the mitigation, just parquet. Contractors put containment over here, our levee, and the little L levee is containment on this side, and then pumping from some oil field canals here into here is going to fill it up, and we get this back vegetated again. There'll probably be some extra material, and I know all along here, all of this with just a little bit of material could fill in, and all of these places can fill in, and hopefully get some credit for some of the things they're trying to do more organic. But this worked out well. But it's a good, when you look at this, it really tells a story. Absolutely, about 90% of what you're seeing in here would look like this if we didn't have the levee. And when you head further south on the big picture, you have some very islands, but there's not much between the Gulf of Mexico and the west side of the levee. You got Catfish Lake, wide open area. So if we get a storm coming from the southwest going northeast with the eye hitting Graceland, man, that's going to be a perpendicular hit on this levee. That's why we think it's critical to raise it up. Now the odds are you only get about 10% of the storms coming from that direction. But if you get it, it's going to be bad. So we're preparing for that by getting a levee up in this area that high. But I mean, it's important. Here's the bayou right here. The other thing, you don't see many buildings here, right? You don't see many subdivisions.
They can't afford to buy the $10,000 an acre.
Well, good point. I feel like that ain't man, we're trying to course him. Good point, but there's nothing here, guys. This is pasture at best, and it's wooded. You have buildings along here for one simple reason. You have a hard surface road. You've got a good water line that you can attach to for very low cost. You have electricity, very low cost. To bring a hard surface road, to bring a pipe for a subdivision, to bring power down to where the borough canal is costs a lot of money. That's why we know that whatever appraiser said that an acre here was worth the same as an acre there is crazy. We know for sure if we'd have been digging the dirt along here, we'd have been paying $40,000 to $50,000 an acre. Because that's where the value is in the property. To say that this acre is the same as this acre is just unbelievable. But yet, that is what was said. So this picture really kind of tells the story here. But again, Stevie took a number of shots and, see now this was on low tide, so you can see a lot of the dirt kind of filling in. Now when the high tide came, it's kind of, y'all went to there, right guys?
We did what?
Y'all went, check this out.
Yeah.
Y'all stood on the levee right here, y'all looked at it, and it doesn't show as much dirt, because the tide's up, right?
Yeah, but you can tell
It's filling in good.
Yeah.
And we expect to have some extra material, right? That would be able to kind of close some of these holes up, probably.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I would hope to.
How many acres is that?
About 32?
No, it's more like 45.
A lot, yeah.
Well, where's the pipe pumping this stuff into Silton?
Well,
I couldn't tell from the.
okay, here, this is the dread, right, Steve?
I believe that is, yeah.
Dread right here, and then the pipe comes through here.
It goes right up there, you go. It
See
goes
like-
like a little bite, you can see, there you go, it's a better
Okay,
picture. See
here's,
that right there?
see the pipe leaking a little bit?
The pipe's further to the east right now.
There?
I mean, to
Right
the
now,
west,
to the
I'm sorry.
west.
To the west.
It's on the west side.
Down.
No, but.
This is
but-
south,
but-
this is east, and this is west.
But Wendell's correct, the pipe is basically in that little bite that meanders down there, okay?
Go to the bottom of the page, Wendell, inside of our levee. That's about where the pipe is right now. Go up and there somewhere.
There.
It's moved since
It's going underground, you can't see it.
It's over here right now.
It's right there somewhere.
Yeah, which makes sense, because, you know, you're bonding right here, so you would imagine you put more dirt over there. Yeah. But you know what's good? This stuff, it really is gonna feel it.
Oh, we got audio too.
Audio.
But a rubber band is making a lot of noise.
You can't kick it.
And here's the pump station at the
It's the
bottom.
dread right there.
And that's the red.
There's Joe's dock.
Joe's Pond.
Okay, now, we go down here, this is just north of where we did the SEAP project. This is that project that Ducks Unlimited with Carco Phillips, with CPRE and the parish. I think we put a little money in this too. And here they have some containment. But here's the containment filling in, but this is outside the containment. This is the edge of our levee. I mean, if we get a little more dirt, there's a good chance we can have solid marsh all the way to here. And this is all gonna be solid. But they can fill, they continue to fill this in, but it looks like they're not too far away from being finished. But I'm just amazed how much came over. And their containment was a lot lower than the containment that they put on the project, you know, the Apache form. Okay, and you can see that, that's on low tide, that's dirt showing. Same thing here. You know, we know this is gonna fill in and, with Lafourche. I'm hoping and I'm thinking, at the worst, this is gonna get a lot more solid if it does not completely attach. But I'm hoping it doesn't attach. Same thing here, this is in the containment, this is outside the containment. And you go a little bit further north, that was the last, channel we had. Now here we're going on the east side, this is pump station number 6 in the back of South Lafourche. And heading north, that's the area that had dropped below a 13-foot elevation. We're building back up to 14.5 feet. This is where the LAMP project says that water was overtop the levee, so we're building that right now. We had a contract that threw the dirt up, and now we have a contractor that's shaping it into the levee. See, they threw all dirt over here and shaped it into the levee. And this is working out. Here's pump station number 6. We're looking south right now. Just looking north from the same place, getting that up to 14.5, and just taking the dirt that was taken from here. It was stacked on here, stayed there a while, dried up, and the contractor's taking it, put it on top. Again, this project's working real well. Again, that's stacked up dirt that he hadn't gotten to yet. Now it's pretty high right here, but there's a couple places where it's not as high, so there is gonna be some trucking where they take the dirt from the just where they have some extra and bring it to the places that are a little short. But we will get the whole thing up to 14.5 feet. And that's Bayou Lafourche Bridge over here. Barrow Canal, and then the dirt stack, and our guy shaping it for the.
I like your little addition, the little inset.
Yeah.
Shows exactly where the levee.
Well, you know, instead of having to skill, a picture's worth a thousand
Yeah,
words.
right.
That was a good idea, Mayor.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
We have to take it
Whoa.
so simple, we have to take it on.
Oh, yeah. So we have to take you on. All right. We have the shooting range issue kind of came up again. Everything was going great for the last,
said that a couple of meetings ago, man, we didn't have no trouble with it.
no trouble, and then all of a sudden, the contractor that with the little dredge, gets people going, a couple of bullets, they hear them going past them, okay? So the contractor and Drake, they went on our levee and found some bullets on it. So, you know, and then it looks like they tore down the backstop, you know, the dirt that they had now, just our levees there.
Have you have any contact with them, Wendell?
No, not yet. Ray said he'd be talking to
Huh.
him, just to see what's going on, and,
He's always been cooperative, though, you know, the right.
Yeah.
no, let me tell you, it's been, that's kind of shocking, and I was really surprised. I thought maybe somebody else, some other people were shooting, but then after investigating and looking at the situation, it doesn't look good, but we'll wait to see. But, you know, we can't put our people out there to go cut the grass and maintain the levee and do work and have the chance of them getting shot. I mean, it's hard to believe actually, you know. But anyway, we don't have all the discussions done yet. Hopefully it can be taken care of. Because it's really disappointing because things have been so fantastic. We had a contractor there, but 2 years going back and forth, he didn't complain, there were no problems, they didn't feel threatened, there were no issues. And then all of a sudden, all these things got happening at one time. But I just wanted to make y'all aware of it.
The Wild West.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, we don't want to interfere with anybody's business, but if we don't keep the levee in place, you know, they're gonna be shooting for some floating targets if we don't keep our levee working, you know? Yeah. And then, I wanted to put it here, we did receive our permit for, the Yankee Canal levee improvement. You know, the one we did 4 years ago? We got it last week.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Oh, no, good work.
Glad that'll make Daniel happy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, do things right. Gomesa funding, I did mention that the parish has sold a bond, and there's $5 million for us to start the construction of the block once we get full funding on it. You can't start advertising anything until you have the cost fully paid. Board membership, just to let you know, I had all of these people pretty much nominating the board. It looks like it's gonna stay the same. I think that the governor will probably approve all those nominations, so there's a good chance we can keep the board the same, no change. From the people I've talked to, and it looks pretty good. Okay. Marsh Creation, Seaside Vicinity, we looked at mitigation for Section K for Morganza, so that's coming along well. Globally Farms access to build that part of Globally Farms, that slope compared to the flood insurance. And we met with their people. They're changing our access location to stay alongside the interior levee and that small levee that they have. You know, when you cross the bridge, instead of going to another road that we're using, they want us to go on the little levee and turn north. Is that turn north and then go? Turn south. You know, once you cross the, okay, you're coming down Colby Road, you cross the bridge. Well, before we used to go a lot further and take another road to get south. Okay, now they're saying, once you cross the road, take a right to the left. Take a right away. Okay. And travel along that levee to access it. And so we're gonna go ahead and we met with them last weekend. We'll, since that's what they suggest, we'll work with them. The rules lock and 111 Golden Meadow. You know, just you'll understand, the whole issue with the water in the roads is the bank of the roads is high, it's 8 feet high. The Golden Meadow is below water. And so us managing the water in the roads is critical for Ports of Galleon and Golden Meadow. And there's been some changes, some work going on LA1 and Golden Meadow and at Ports of Sis on 308. So, John, I know you've been doing a little bit of work with the town, and Neil, you've done a little bit of work with the parish on 308, so John, can talk about what's going on. If they can get that thing higher, that means we can let the water get high, it makes it easier to get more traffic through quicker.
Right, Golden Net itself, as y'all know, y'all helped participate in the flood wall, they're trying to raise that flood wall. But also DOTD is overlaying, in the process of overlaying Highway 1 from the school to junior high south. As y'all know, right in front of the junior high, between the road and the seawall, water stays there on a high tide all the time. We have shown that to DOTD. They have said they were gonna do something about it. I can't tell you for sure they're gonna do something about it, but they know about it, and they said they would do something about it, trying to get the water into the town system to get it to the back.
Yeah,
So
so
that,
it's ponding, you know, normally they build a road, all right, hump back, okay? Then you have the wall, so you're making a ponding area over here. And there are two ways to take care of that. Don't turtle back, make the road just kind of go up the wall, or where you close those little culverts at the base of the wall and put a little drainage underneath the road so that it doesn't stay.
I was gonna ask, they're gonna build up between the seawall and the road and the highway?
last I talked to them, they planned on doing, the second part is taking the water in that catch basin there and running it back across the
How
road.
about the
Underneath.
rest of the way to the Golden and town limits? Seemed to me that just, like he says, elevate the road higher by the seawall would eliminate all those drains that
Yeah, and-
naturally go to the back.
And where the seawall is close to the road, I think they do plan on doing that, but there are a lot of places where you have 100 feet or even more before you get to the seawall. So illegal in particular is one spot that, you know, they can't put that much asphalt, but they can increase the drainage under the road to get to the back.
Yeah, they can actually go underneath the road, just make a trench, put a pipe, and then just resurface the road.
I think really an objective of that company is, when he sells the coffee.
Whereas the parking lot to the bar,
He did object to that.
you're nice.
Okay.
And I know when we talked to them, we were talking mostly in front of the junior high and in that little area.
But that would be a big help, because it's always there first, so you get the low spots first, and it gives you more advantage. And what's happening on 308, because you gotta worry about 308 side too, because our water real close to.
On the 308 side in Golden Meadow, several years ago, the parish addressed the worst of the problem. There were sections of the road just north of the Golden Meadow Bridge on 308, where with a tide of just a little above +1, you had water going over 308 into everybody's yard trying to make its way to the back. So you had bayou water getting all the way to the
And
drainage
the majority,
system.
we bulkheaded that with wooden bulkhead and backfilled it
So-
to the highway and vinyl food.
Right, and about, I guess it was about 2 years ago, Daniel, we did that with the parish.
CDBG
There
grant.
was some CDBG money that the parish got, and we raised that road up to an elevation of just a little over +2. So it made a big difference. That was the worst spot, but now there's other areas in Golden Meadow on only one side that need the same.
Well, even the area near the Gibbons house, you know, I mean, that gulf is so low, that, you know, those types of areas, if you take care of all of that, and, you know, if the roads are if they're +2, and you do the same thing to everything else, then that'll take so much pressure off of us having to wait to open the floodgates and get traffic. That'd be a tremendous help.
And there was also some previous drainage penetrations that we got rid of. There was some drainage that the front yard of a couple of residents in that little neighborhood on 308 in Golden Meadow were draining into Bayou Lafourche, but as time went on, it was actually Bayou Lafourche was draining into their yard. So we rerouted all that drainage, and the road is now a true levee. There's no drainage penetrations in that Golden Meadow area on 308.
But I think it's important with what y'all have been doing, if y'all, maybe any other spots that y'all would see as potential problems, put them on a list and just have them out there, and some money shows up, we can take care of them again. By allowing us to let more water get in Bayou Lafourche, it makes everything easier for everyone.
Another bad spot, I'm sure you know about Johnny Golden, that is Dr. Gravell's house. That's one of your projects. But right there with that little boat shed we used to be, Dr. Gravell, the clinic
On
was.
Washington and Pershing?
No.
Oh, up the vine,
Up
right
the
up the
vine,
vine.
yeah. There's a bad spot there whenever it rains, there'll be water pools
By
there.
Roger Brown.
Oh,
I got that bump by Roger Brown house.
Yeah.
Fell in it.
Around the
Clinic
Gravell,
drugstore.
Dr. Gravell.
Used to be Dr. Ford and Dr. Grau.
That'll be a big asset to all of us. ConocoPhillips right away, we're trying to do the project, this is their pump station number 4, their Yankee Canal, the Crawfish Farm levee right there. Between their pump station and our pump station number 4, the levee is low, it's shown on the flood insurance map. So we're looking to bring that up to 16. ConocoPhillips is allowing us to take the property, the dirt from their property, which is the old Borough Canal that led to pump station number 4. We can widen it out, and we're about to get to that agreement. Joe,
Everything was sent to them early last week.
okay, so, I've
Everything-
been talking
Is
to
that
him.
the 20 Orphan Canal you're talking about? That's what you're referring to?
No, it's
40 Orphan
it's
Canal.
40, but it's,
20, that's
It's-
20.
it's just across the Schwest Farm.
Yeah.
It's the one that separates the Schwest Farm from the landowner.
It's been called the 20 Orphan
Yeah,
Canal
but
too, but
that's
it's,
what takes off by Bully Camp, by.
But it's not further north 20 over canal.
Yeah, but Bully Farm works all its way down
Now,
there.
we thought, look, up here, here's the farm, here's the Schwest Farm, and it's this canal right here. That's the pump station number 4, and they're giving us the right to widen this canal right here. That's gonna give us enough dirt to raise the levee between their pump station and here. And we almost got that. And the other big issue is levee standards. You know, when I review, there's a levee standards, national levee standards rating. We get bad ratings because the Corps keeps saying we're not building to their standards. But we building to a standard that stops the water, which is all we really care about. We have Mitch over here, Mitch and Dwayne Bourgeois, working with the Corps in kind of easing the standards to some degree on the Organza levee. And hopefully we can find someone else to take that idea and get to the Corps, and all the places should have the ability to build cost-effective levees. And we know that's what we're doing. And you can make something more expensive than it needs to be, and we think that that's what the Corps has done. Pre-Katrina, the levee standards that were there before worked. You know, there were some levees over top for Katrina and y'all's, but they were over top. Okay, that's a different ballgame. In any event, it's still an issue that just wants to be dealt with. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any questions, Wendell? Engineer report, CPRA, manual,
I don't have anything new today.
nothing?
Really?
Corps of Engineers, we have no one here. Project engineers, Ms. Yoder? Yoder?
Our LA1 elevation and realignment at the locks. Bar and Talbot's complete with the project. And the lien period has expired. So we did receive a clear lien certificate in January. As you know, we having an issue disputing the assessment of $61,000 in liquidated damages because they were late on the project. Our contract, we have 45 days to remit payment, which puts us at March 1st. We had a meeting with Ray and Mr. Ron on window, and Ray is recommending that we try to negotiate something with the contractor. He's trying to set up a meeting right now with their attorney. So I guess pending the outcome of that meeting, we'll probably have to come back to you with some kind of recommendation as to how much damage is going to be assessed and how we're going to pay it.
Try to pull off a litigation so we can.
Well, yeah, now the lawyers are, I guess their lawyers saying that we have to pay them in full, and if we want to charge them damages, we have to sue them for the damage after we pay.
They filed a lawsuit that says that we cannot charge.
We talked about it. So that's what that meeting was
That's what the meeting.
about. See about the $60.
And I think Ray is gonna be back on the 17th of February, he said, and we'll have the meeting then. That may require a special meeting, because if this March 1st deadline is not extended, we'll have to figure out some kind of way to pay them prior to the next meeting.
No, we could if y'all want. The board could allow Ronald a formal recommendation of our attorney to agree to that sum if y'all want to do that. The water special meeting, I mean, it's y'all call.
Okay, moved by Roland, second by Lonnie, that we authorize myself to sign whatever documents necessary based on the attorney's opinion. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
On the roads floodgate improvements, you saw the pictures, sea level is, working on, they finished pretty much driving all the sheet pile and the A-frame wall. They made the corner and they're gonna start driving piles along the road going towards the north, and then we're gonna build an eye wall there. So it's gonna be a concrete capped eye wall in that location. All the welding and all the fit up is done on the west side of the structure for the A-frame wall. And they're still doing some miscellaneous welding and fit up on the east side. So we do have a pay application number 7 in the amount of $414,548.41. We do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay sea level construction, the application number 7, in the amount of $414,548.41. Elwick, moved by Mitch, seconded by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
On our east-south project, you saw those photos, Lowland Construction's the contractor. He's working from pump station 6 going north towards the corner by Clovelly Farms. He is working, he's been having a lot of trouble with the weather. It's really wet and hard for him to get out there, but he is working and making some progress. That's gonna be slow until it kind of dries up. He does have pay application number 2 in the amount of $11,400, which we do recommend you pay.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay Lowland Construction Company, pay application number 2 in the amount of $11,400. Your wishes. Moved by Roland, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And our E-North levee improvements, this is a project that takes some borrow material from the Clovelly Farms property that's on the west side of their levee, around Bayou Lures area. And we're gonna put that material from the corner at Clovelly Farms towards the Superior Docks. And then it'll be graded and shaped at a later date by another contractor. So we do have all the plans ready. We met with Wendell and Drake. Access to the project, we'll go over it with Wendell and then we're gonna go out to bids. On D-South, this is the project that Wendell was just talking about on ConocoPhillips project property. SDL Construction was a low bidder. His contract documents are still being processed, but we are waiting on the right-of-way, final right-of-way approval from ConocoPhillips, and then we'll go ahead and give him the notice to proceed. And he's telling us he has all of his documents ready. On section F, we did do all of our surveying, our plans are done like to 95%. We need to meet with Wendell and discuss that project in detail before we put it out for bids. But we can do that soon, whenever you're ready. On A East, we've done all the surveying, and we're gonna get ready to work on a project plan soon. And on the Go-to-Bed pump station flood wall, we finished our design, and our plans are like 95%. I also need to talk to you about that one, just go over the final details.
We need to get it to us so we can get it to TPO.
Yes, yes. I mean, our plans are basically done, I just wanna make sure we are both on the same page before we send it to everybody. Okay?
And what height is that decided?
We're shooting for a 16.
The last time we talked about it, we were trying to make the air.
We were trying to get it to 18, and that's why we've had trouble making the design fit. But the design fits at either like a 16 or a 17. So,
Why not make it 17?
huh?
Why not make it 17?
Well, all the rest of the structures below are at a 16. So I was gonna say,
Well, we're gonna look at.
but those are the kind of things that I wanted to talk to Wendell about before we send it out.
We will always try to go higher, because I expect us to eventually make
Make
that
the gold
dirt.
and
See,
higher.
gold and metal, we don't have any dirt, see, you have people right there.
Yeah.
Can't go. So, it's gonna be harder for us to raise it to 18, but that's our goal. I think we're still trying to get there, so, but we'll talk, go down and talk and see what's, we're gonna build something that's sturdy. So a sturdy 16, an unsturdy 17, we're not gonna do, if we can get them sturdy and make it make sense, we'll go 18.
Right now, I feel really good about 16. 17, you kind of pushing the limits. 18, you over it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
That's what we've
And,
determined
and
so
the
far.
good thing too is that wall has a splash pad on the inside. In other words,
Yes,
if the
it
water
does.
comes over, it's not gonna get eroded, make it fail. So you gotta deal with some water going over at that very high elevation. But typically, that doesn't last very long. And certainly not enough to think it was flood over the metal, you know, and get the ridge canal spread out. So, you know, we're gonna build as high as we can afford to.
But the wall at the lock and the wall going, the gate at going through LA1 is all at 60. So, I mean, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll make a decision. We'll go as high as we can.
Thank you. Any questions, Joe? Next, we've got GIS. John?
Okay, the Lafourche water level control, that's the East Golden Meadow area. The Corps continues to talk back and forth with us now, so we are still progressing on that permit, but we have not gotten it quite yet. The D-South flood wall improvements, like Joe, we've got 14, a 16, and 18. They are all a little higher than y'all have budgeted for that project, so we are also going to be sitting down with Wendell hopefully this week, so we can figure out how to address the D-South flood wall. And not on the agenda, but the Grand Volume project, we have tentatively scheduled receipt of bids for that project for March 18th.
Any questions, John? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Neil, just your associate. Angela.
All right, the first item, the north and east south levee improvements, that's from the, based on pump station to Golden Meadow Park. The contract with Pontchartrain Partners is continuing with construction, and right now we're working with him closely to make sure that he's scheduling his work to complete all of the additional work that you guys authorized prior to hurricane season. So we'd like him to get that levee cut down a couple of feet, get out of there and close back up well before hurricane season, which I think is easily doable.
Neil,
Yes.
Neil, the area closest to the pump station number 2, the ramp,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty steep, pretty high, and then you go to the, it doesn't have a big berm or two.
Right.
You've done some stability analysis, and that looks okay.
You're talking about the area just north of Big Bend?
Just south of it.
Just south of Big Bend?
Yeah, you know, where we put the sheet pile in, the whole
Right.
thing, it's, you know, you see it's high, it's steep, and not a big berm and
Right.
toe.
That area
If
is
it's not
fine.
too deep, it should be stable, but I just
No.
wanna make sure you looked at it.
There's some extremely long sheet piles that are in there that are giving some additional reinforcement to that levee section.
Yeah, just wanna make sure you feel
Yeah,
real
that
comfortable.
section is fine. So, and on that first item, there is no pay request this month for Pontchartrain Partners. On item number 2, the Seaside levee improvement with RLB, that project is complete. It was completed a couple of months ago, so that shouldn't be on the agenda anymore, so there's nothing on that item 2. On item 3, Seaside levee shaping based on the Apache, we're recommending approval to begin advertising to raise that levee up from based on the Apache form. Right now, that levee's at an elevation of plus 13. We'd like to raise it up to plus 18. This is gonna be the first phase of probably a 2-part levee improvement. This first phase will get the levee crown, and the inside, the inside area just before the berm, up to a plus 18. A subsequent project is gonna come back and utilize the rest of the material to get the stability berm up. So we'd like approval to begin advertising, and our estimate for that project is $1,094,000.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of engineers to start bidding on this project, South levee improvement, basic elevating from 13 to 18 feet. At the estimated cost of $1,094,000. Move by Monty, second by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And the last item on the agenda, Morganis to the Gulf Reach Ale. This is from the eastern side of Apache Forum out to Grand Bayou, including some features in Bayou of Blue. We're currently finishing up some internal reviews on that, and we're ready to meet with Mitch and plan out this project to go off the bid.
Any questions, Anil? Okay, Delta South. Delta Coast, Steve.
Moving south.
I'll keep it quick. Today we met, to discuss how we're gonna move forward on reshaping the dredge material on Reach K. I guess to summarize it, rather than do it the Reggie way, I think we've got a pretty solid plan to have a 9-foot levee, or shaped to 9 foot the whole way. We're gonna finalize that through CPRA and hopefully get some contracts out pretty soon. I'm sure Stevie's got, I guess, some details on that too. We're paying attention to the mitigation project, try to add some more if we need to. That might reduce our obligations further south, so that's something that we're really interested in trying to do. So if we can create another 10, 15 acres of marsh, I mean, that'd be a good deal for us. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
And that's just to let the board, we talked about the expense of the money that's available, and in about a year.
Right,
there's a
so
chance
we're looking at about 12 months.
to get the
And-
entire
and
length.
what is our budget, 2.8 million? 2.8 million, so basically that would be using that 2.8 million to shape something.
And you can go all the way from Portishead all the way to the
Go
end
from
of
Portishead all the way to the end of the canal.
At a bottom line.
That 1.5 is the, you know, it's basically a virgin levee, so we know we're gonna have a lot of settlement there, but that would be the initial list.
Any other questions of Mitch? Okay, Stevie?
So, again, I'll just follow with that. Obviously, had the discussion about Reach K. Mitch kind of gave you a pretty good summary on that. I do think we have a pretty good path forward. I expect that we'll have a couple of pieces of Reach K under construction this summer. They're certainly not going to be finished before the heart of hurricane season, but we're going to have a couple pieces of Reach K under construction this summer. Again, as Wendell, I think, talked about for one of the other projects, this does require some coordination with CPRA, which sometimes tends to slow it down a little bit because they have folks that want to review it, not Daniel, but a bunch of folks up in Baton Rouge that want to review it. Not Daniel. Daniel would never slow us down.
Daniel's speed.
That's right. Moving on to the next project on the list, Mr. Chairman, is our marsh mitigation project. That's the project we had some aerial photos of earlier. That project is under construction, proceeding pretty well. I do have a change order that's on the board's agenda. We're going to add 16 days to the contract. At the beginning, when the contractor first got out there, when coastal dredging first got out there, they had to build some of those containment dikes that you might have seen in the pictures. And when we had a lot of high water right at the beginning of the project, there were several days they couldn't work because the water was too dang high to build those dikes. So that's what the 16-day change order number 1 is. That's on the agenda, and we, of course, recommend approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the recommendation of engineers to add 16 days of change order number 1 for the Beach Cake marsh mitigation. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Keith, seconded by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
One other issue tied to that work in that area. Reggie and I have met with Mr. Knocking, who owns the boat going for a lot behind his house, a dock. And it was used by the contractor that built Section K, this first lift. Reggie believes that we could probably, if we could get a deal, there'd be 3 or 4 contracts working to get those projects that Stevie just described. That it would be good to rent out that dock. We could probably get a better deal on the contractor's bidding because of that. So we don't have it on the agenda, but if you don't want to, I'd like for you all to give the president the right to sign on the recommendation of Mitch and Terrible and Levee. They're gonna be paying for, we're gonna go ahead and do it, pay it, and they're gonna reimburse us for those things.
Is that the Lotus?
Yeah, but it's not the public dock that you see, there's another dock behind the house.
Behind the house. Yeah.
And that's what he's talking about.
So that's what we split between North Lafourche and Terrebonne will cover the annual cost for 2 years or 2 one-year options. But you may have multiple contractors needing that dock at the same time, so it makes more sense for the lessee to be the South Lafourche levy district rather than trying to negotiate with 3 or 4 different individual contractors. And, and we think that's gonna save all of these contracts many, many thousands of dollars in the end.
So just in case,
Do we need to change the agenda, motion to, and a vote to change the agenda, because it's not on the agenda?
right, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and in case something happens fast, I'll, for next month, if something happens fast, we're not gonna do it, okay.
Max, second by Mitch, that we change the agenda to include this motion. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Now, we need to get the, to authorize, you negotiate.
Authorizes you to sign the agreement upon the recommendation of Mitch to move forward with it, with understanding that North Lafourche and Terrebonne will be paying for the.
All that you said, moved by Mitch, McKee, seconded by Roland, Huron. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, Nick, Aptum contract.
We've transferred the bid documents for the Grand Bayou floodgate structure over to GIS, so we'll be here throughout the duration of construction to provide our engineering experience and expertise, make sure that we have a successful project.
Any questions of Nick? Thank you. Okay, legal permits and rights of ways, Mitch.
Okay, this month we have two of them. The first one by Greater Lafourche Port Commission, and the second one is Key Operating Company. After reviewing these two permits, we'll get the board to approve.
There's been a recommendation by Mitch that we approve these two projects, these two permits. Any discussion on this thing? We need a motion, a second, Bob. Okay, we need any discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Anything else, Mitch, anything else?
No, that's it.
Mr. Attorney, any,
By the next meeting, Ray will have met with both parties regarding the issues discussed before, and we'll have either a recommendation or a resolution.
okay, Finance Committee, Bonnie?
Okay, Finance Committee met and reviewed all invoices and, approved that they be paid as presented.
Okay, Chairman has moved that all invoices be paid as presented, seconded by, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. And I see we got legal permits and rights of ways for a second time.
Yep.
Well, sit down.
Good job,
Good job on that.
Didn't
Okay,
want to leave anybody out.
any old business? Any old business? Any new business? Any new business? No need for executive session, we'll move for adjournment, move by Max, second by Roland. Get in. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Yeah.